organists, they really make the session.
The organist really does play to the crowd. He really has the opportunity to feed on the crowd's excitement and to get them more involved in the session.
Organ skaters skate very fast because you get the best beat to the organ music.
It's the world of dance on wheels. It's really something else.
The excitement, the music, exercise, the friends.
I started skating at 7 years old, 1951, at Queens Roller Rink, Long Island, and I've been skating ever since. Never stopped. I skated competitively 50 years in a row, 50 state championships without a miss, 50 years. That's a record. And I was skating freestyle up till I was 48, which is very unusual to do jumps and spins when you're 48 years old. But I did it. Roller skating started in the late 1700s. When there was no ice, people wanted to skate. So they put a couple of spools in a row on a pair of boots, and that was the first roller skate, basically. In the 1930s and 40s, roller rinks were a very formal place to go. They wanted to upgrade the atmosphere of rinks, and the ladies would wear street-length dresses that had to be way below the knees, and the gentlemen had to wear a suit jacket and a tie, which was a must. The professional teachers used to have to wear a white glove if they were teaching a young lady pupil how to roller skate. That was the etiquette of the time. Before television, there was very little nighttime entertainment, so roller rinks and bowling alleys did very good business. There were over 3,000 rinks in the United States. And I see new people coming into the rink every single day. New faces, new skaters. Start them young, they'll skate forever. Shuffle skating made skaters want to skate because it was fun and exciting.
Gary Schatzer, originally from Chambersburg, and I've been skating since '63, about 45 years. Shuffle skating is a lot faster than doing dances. There's moves that people do on shuffle skating that they don't do in dances.
All it is, corner hop, turn, step behind, split.
It's the people. And you have as many people and friends that I've made over the years through roller skating and shuffle skating.
That's with two people doing the same move. Same move, both of us in sync. And sync together with the beat of the music. Are you ready? Here we go. This is a slide.
Back when I skated Fontainebleau, we had a session that was called Family Night. The parents would bring the kids out that used to skate. They'd bring them out and get them involved with organ music and that style of skating. And it was clean fun.
That's a high kick. He can get it higher than I can because I'm getting old.
It's just, there's just nothing like it, you know, and for the time, that's all we knew was shuffle skating, just skating to an organist.
Now this is Jimmy Heller that's skating with me right now. He's one of the boys that used to skate CC&M, Allentown. We've been friends for a long time.
Not every skater can shuffle skate. It's quite a unique type of skating. There's many artistic skaters out there that are on the national level in freestyle dance and figures that can never shuffle skate. I mean, they just can't pick up the beat. There's an extra half beat in there, and they just can't. It's something that you learn, and it's you know. And I think we do it at a pretty high proficiency.
The organ music is the key. The organ music was always the best. I mean, to skate to.
Everybody would agree organ music's the best.
And the more people you have there, well, the better it goes, especially when you have a live organist. He makes it. and they make it. It just feeds over each other. That's the way I feel.
When you come out here, you're dragging, you have no energy. As soon as you hear that music, that's all it takes. Got all the energy you need.
Because I really think that organ music is, the way to skate. It's the only way to skate.
In the 1960s, before that the organ music was played to foxtrots and waltzes and tangos, but a new beat came in thanks to a pioneer called Bill Clark.
And then Bill Clark came along, and what can you say? I mean, Bill Clark is the man. I mean, there's no question about it.
We went past this music store, and there was an accordion in the window, and I sort of like cried to get to play that accordion. I wanted that accordion, so I took lessons with that, and I think the lessons were at that time, I think I was 7 years old. I think they were like 25 cents. The teacher was Warren Orth, very good, accomplished musician. Graduated from high school and started working in a music store, teaching music, teaching the accordion only. And all of a sudden they were bringing in some organs, and I was fooling around with the organs. And I sort of was a self-learner on the organ. But after a while I had to take lessons. I had to take lessons from a very good organist, Alfred Hermans, and he played in a roller skating rink in Reading. But he was very good on theory, arranging, and he's the one that sort of taught me how to fill in things, start things, end things.
Organists, and they're kind of like rock stars or famous musicians. They have this following, and people drive across state lines in order to go to their favorite organist session or jamboree. But I think when you get that organist and you get the crowd in there, I think they feed off of one another, and there's just a level of energy that I can't even describe, the level of energy that comes from a good shuffle session. But I think at the end of the night, if it's a success, it's either you want more and it's just over too soon, or you're just so exhausted that you just know it's been a good evening.
I was a skater back when I was about 18, 19 years old, and I used to go skating at the skating rink called Sinking Spring Skate Arena. From going there for a couple of years, I got to know the manager, Doc Yoder, his name was, and he knew I was a musician. Came to me and he says, my organ player quit. He said, do you want to try out for the job? I said, yeah, sure. So I tried out for the job and I got the job. Anyway, I guess being young and things like that, everybody liked me. So I guess maybe with some of that, but I wasn't too good at everything. But this little skating rink, I don't think it really mattered too much because all you had to do is play some very simple beaty type songs with a distinct beat, and which I think later on in my playing I was noted for the beat. I had a very distinct beat.
Couldn't get regular music to get the beat. You just needed the organ skate to get out there, organ music to get out there to really put it together. Without it, this didn't seem right.
Well, I played there for 9 years. 9 years, and I started at $7, and after the 9th year there I got $9 a session, and then I went to another skating rink, Pheasant Land, and he paid me $15. Rock and roll was coming in, Elvis and things like that, and all his songs were great for skating. Don't Be Cruel, Teddy Bear. Those were all great skating songs. You could sort of make like a shuffle beat out of that. Well, I played at Pheasant Land and on the weekends, and I would play at Ringing Rock skating rink on a Wednesday. And then I got a call from the owner of the Pike Roll Arena down near Philadelphia, Southampton. And I went down, and we hit it off together right away. From the first session I started there, they started coming. And they were shuffle skaters, and these shuffle skaters were teaching these other people how to do the shuffle. More people were coming, and all of a sudden they knew my name. And by that time I sort of had my own style of playing. And I would say it would be a style of shuffle, jazz, swing, all put together with a heavy beat.
We would travel to see Bill Clark. I mean, at that time, Bill Clark was really the guy to skate to, and so we traveled there.
People would come from all over southeastern Pennsylvania, southwestern Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. Every Saturday night you'd see these groups of people that would spend 5-6 hours on the road just to get there. And they would skate for 3 hours and off for home they would go. He was a fabulous organist.
Every Saturday night we would just live for Saturday nights. People were coming in from New York City, people were coming in from all parts of Pennsylvania, the western part of Pennsylvania. People were coming in from Maryland, Delaware. We used to get they were coming in carloads of people.
1966, 67, I used to take 3 carloads and we'd leave Forest Hills, Queens, skaters from Hillside Roller Drum, and go all the way to Pike Rink in Southampton, Pennsylvania to hear Bill Clark play the Night Owl session.
8 to 11 and 11:30 to 2:30 in the morning. The 11:30 to 2:30 in the morning was a wild time. It was all adults there, adults. Why did all these people come to the skating rink? Well, I think it was word of mouth. You got to come down to this place called the Pike Roll Arena in Southampton, and to hear this fella play. I started making some recordings for home use, and I used to make small reels and sell them that night. Well, anyway, I started playing, making up tapes with different varieties of songs, tempos, and that went over very big. And after a while I was recording for skating rinks in California, Texas, but when I would make a new tape I'd probably sell 100 right away. Right away I'd sell 100.
I took tapes along to Arizona with me and taught the folks out there who were big dance skaters, taught them how to shuffle skate, and left it out there when I left, and they're still doing it today.
As I was making the tapes, I was adding some more attachments onto my organ. I would put a synthesizer on there, maybe an electric piano, making different kinds of different sounds on it. And well, anyway, when I would play live, I would use all these things. Well, I was actually playing at this Pike Roll Arena Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was playing Wednesday nights at a rink that I leased in Pottstown, Ringing Rocks. I was leasing this rink. I met a fellow there. His name was Harold Chrisman. We used to call him Chaz Chrisman. Anyway, we became friends, and we were talking one time, and he said, let's build a skating rink. So I says, okay. So we opened our first skating rink in 1968 in Douglasville, Pennsylvania.
He called me and said, hey, I'm going to build a skating rink. I need somebody to manage it. Would you be interested? I said, sure would. My name is Harold Rubrek, and I was manager of Douglasville skating rink called CC Skate Ranch, owned by Bill Clark and another gentleman, Harold Chrisman. I originally met Bill back in 1960. He was playing in a rink up in Sinking Springs, and a fabulous young organist at the time.
Then we started getting skaters from Harrisburg, Lebanon, Lancaster, and they would come up from Delaware and Maryland. That was pretty close there. Every Saturday night was a big night there, big night.
Everybody would follow him, no matter what rink he played at. He was like a Pied Piper. People would follow him. He was that well known.
Well, I was the organist at CC Skate Ranch, CC. And then we built another one called CCM Skate Ranch. We had 3 partners in that, and of course I couldn't be at both places. So Ralph Brown was, I would say, one of the upcoming fellas, and he had the shuffle beat. He had the shuffle beat. And he had a nice personality, and so he was the organist at the CCM Skate Ranch. So he was my competition, but that's all right, because Harold Chrisman and I, and we had that rink also. We owned that rink, so it really didn't matter.
The first time I heard Ralph Brown play was back in 1985, and I was hooked. And being an organist myself, I basically transitioned over playing that style of music, and I have a lot of fun with it. I really do.
I started playing here at Pheasantland in the 60s. We used to go hear Bill Clark when he played at Ring and Rocks. And we'd go down to the late skate at Bill's new rink in Douglasville every Saturday night, 11 to 2. Bill and I became friends. Not long after that, when Bill opened a place in Lying, Lexington on Route 309 near Quakertown, he asked me whether I'd play there. And I started playing late skates. And we had some dandy late skates there. We had 400 and 500 people. For a number of years we had that. Huge crowds each night.
At first, when he was 15 years old, his mother used to bring him in from Pittsburgh. He lived in Pittsburgh. And his mother used to bring him for a lesson on a Saturday night before the session.
My mom drove from McKeesport, Pennsylvania to Douglasville, which is outside of Pottstown. And we did it several times during the summer of 1970. And on a Monday morning, Bill Clark would spend about an hour and a half or 2 hours with me, and whatever came to mind. He would, I'd have questions, I'd ask him questions, or he'd think of something to show me, and then I'd go back and I'd play at the rink and show off what I learned. And then a month or 2 afterwards, would go back and I'd take another lesson from him. So that's pretty much the way it was.
He was filling in once in a while at CC when I'd go away on vacation.
Every once in a while, Bill would have guest organists at his rink when he'd go away on vacation or to the convention. And I'd fill in for him sometimes, and we'd always have the group come from Pittsburgh. So we'd have a caravan of about 12 or 15 cars. And that was always a thrill for me to play at his rink, just because the session was tremendous. They had great skaters, and it was a lively session, and you could really get into it.
Later on, Marty Dumick was playing at some of these other rinks.
And I played in several rinks around the Philadelphia and Delaware area back in the mid-70s. And I eventually managed a roller rink for several years, which was Kimberton Rollerama outside of Valley Forge.
My name is Gene Mitchell.
I have been a rink rat since 11 years old. Loved roller skating as a kid. There was no roller skating rinks in my neighborhood, and I always dreamed about having a roller rink. And in 1972, my wish came true, and I had a roller rink that I designed and built in Kimberton, Pennsylvania, called the Kimberton Rollerama.
I can name Ralph Brown, Marty Dumick, Bill Haney, Nick Viscuso. These are all skating rink organists that were sort of trying to copy me. They were copying me, see. You know, it never bothered me.
The music, the shuffle music, all came from Bill. None of us can say that we had anything to do with that at all.
Every chance I had, I would go to see Bill play live, and I'd always learn something new. And that was the thrill of going to see him. You'd hear him on his recordings, but when you went to see him play live, and if he knew you were watching him, he'd always go into something, break into something new, and you couldn't wait to get back and try it at your own rink.
I used to tell these guys, okay, now I'm going to add a new synthesizer now. Where did you get that synthesizer? Well, I got it here. I would tell them where I would get it.
Our equipment was all geared to Bill. If Bill bought something, we bought the same thing. If Bill played it a certain way, we played it the same way. Bill brought the selector rhythm into the mix. He bought Sound City pianos. We all bought Sound City pianos. He bought wah-wah pedals, and we all bought wah-wah pedals. And it was just Bill was the innovator, and Bill is the innovator. He brings everything to the party, and we all copy.
Every time Bill came out with a recording, there was something different about it. It built on what he did in the past, but there was always something new. And then he would add a new keyboard. And of course, we all had to run out and get the new keyboard. When I first heard Bill, he already had the Seaberg selector rhythm. Then he eventually got a Hammond extra voice and had it on the side of the organ. So of course, we all had to find an extra voice, which hadn't been made many years before that. But we found them, and then he eventually got a synthesizer, which they were new upcoming keyboards back in the early 70s. And we all had to go out and buy a synthesizer, then an electric piano, and whatever it was, we all had to pattern ourselves after Bill.
My style of music, I think, changed a lot of the way that people skated.
If you had a lively crowd, then you of course would want to play lively music, and it was a give and take between you and the skaters. And the faster they'd skate, and they'd be yelling and cheering you on, you'd want to play better, and it was just a great marriage between the skaters and the organist.
If I play songs that I know they like, that one person will incite somebody else, and that two people will incite four more people, and it kind of grows. And if I keep, and we all do the same thing. If we play a song that we know somebody likes, it kind of starts that little fire and gets everybody else involved. And it's, that's just how you have to be. You can't play for yourself. You play for the people that come up, that showed up that night. They want to be entertained, not me.
I used to have a couple songs I would play, and I don't know how to describe it, but let me tell you, one was called Running Bear. Very simple song. But the way I played it, and I can remember that Brian Van Buskirk, I don't know, maybe he invented it, but he would do different turns and do high kicks. And Well, after a while, another person was following him, another one. After a while, it would be 6, 7 people doing everything in unison.
I was young when it started, early 70s I guess it was, or even late 60s when shuffle skating. We didn't do the dance steps, we did shuffle skating, and we'd go 3, 4 times a week, and I would go with my parents, and it was just a huge part of our family activity, exercise. We just loved it, had to do it.
When he then built his own skating rink, the skaters in that part of Pennsylvania, Reading area, they had a slightly different style of skating than the skaters in the Philadelphia area. And I think he started to play based on how they skated.
Down in the Pike Roll Arena, they were doing a high kick down there. I don't know if they do that too much anymore. But they would end a song with a high kick, and which is unbelievable. Well, I used to play my own, I call them riff. And they were sort of things I would do in between songs that were popular. And these riffs, people would come over to me and say, "What's that song you're playing in the middle?" And I'd say, "Well, that's my own song, and I call it a riff." There's one I copyrighted. It was one was called Rockin', Ringin' Rocks. And because that was the one that people used to tell me when I would start that, when I'd start playing the introduction to that, they'd come out of the woodwork. But I guess the main thing was the shuffle beat. I mean, because they would tell me, play this certain song, play that certain song, and I knew that was their favorite songs.
What puts the shuffle in shuffle skating is a Seeberg selector rhythm.
Looked like a suitcase, and I asked the fellow, what is that? And he said, "Well, that's a new rhythm box." And I said, "Let me hear that." And I walked out of there that day with that thing. I bought that.
There's no other rhythm that we've found that quite hits the mark like the Seeberg does. Let me just play just a piece of this, and this is what gives the music the beat. So if you take that sound of the organ and put it with the rhythm unit, you get something like this.
And we always seem to go back to the Hammond sound. And it's amazing too to see there was a lot of companies that made Hammond emulations, and they always come back to the original. Nobody can beat the tone wheel.
Shuffle skating is that heavy beat that people, it's not hard to pick up the beat, and it's easy to skate to because you don't lose the rhythm with that heavy beat. And Bill brought that, not only the heavy bass, but the raspy left hand into the mix. If you listen to some of the skating, the fast shuffle stuff, that's what you hear. You hear the bass, you hear the heavy left hand, and then the melody, and it's it's just worked out well. And people eat it up.
Well, the rhythm box helped make the shuffle beat because I have a lot of recording tapes where you sort of have to make your own shuffle beat with your left hand and your pedal. You have to make it very heavy. You have to make your left hand very heavy to give the beat. But then this rhythm box, the Seeberg Selector Rhythm came out. And there was one button on there, it was called the 6/8 shuffle. So you put that on, and right away everything is 100%. You don't have to work as hard. You don't need much of a left hand. But what I accomplished was pushing that 6/8 button and another button to get more of a heavier beat, and also on a beat, you hit the pedal on the first and third on the beat, and you have a backbeat on the second and the fourth. Well, on the Selector Rhythm, I was playing it backwards. So the beat would come in on the second and the fourth. It was a backbeat, what they call a backbeat. Da. Of course, Ralph Brown, Marty Doomey, Nick Viscuso, they all had to do that after I did that.
The organ music is much more upbeat, and it has different tones than a record does. It has the opportunity, the organist really does play to the crowd. He really has the opportunity to feed on the crowd's excitement and to get them more involved in the session.
But organ music, it's the ultimate. You can really feel it, get into it, and just...
The organ makes you feel like you just want to go.
Yeah, like you're just on air.
Organ skaters skate very fast because you get the best beat to the organ music. You can't get it from any other type of music, and when you watch people skate, you'll see what I mean. The organ skaters are fast.
I mean, you have the tempo, you have the beat, it's great to skate to, but most kids today, they want to hear the music that they are familiar with. I think if they gave it a shot, they'd like it.
Only a few years ago, we went to Delanco to the organ music, the live, and we were a little hesitant at first, coming from skating to dance music, didn't know what to expect, and we were pleasantly surprised. I mean, the beat was fantastic. It was just as good as the dance music, but you know, we could shuffle to it with no problem, so it was fun. It was definitely fun. We went a few times, so it was a good time.
It's something that's in your body. You feel the beat, it takes over your whole soul, and you just go out and skate.
There's just something that moves you when you skate to it. It's really hard to explain. It's like a phenomenon.
I've always been a big promoter of you have to put on a show for these people. You know, they came there for the show, and if we're going to put on CDs, the disc jockey has to put on a show. We have to put on a show, or whoever's doing the music. The music is what drives this sport.
And it's important. The music is the heart of the session.
The most fun for me, though, is coming to a rink like Sportsman's and, you know, seeing the people's reaction when you play, getting an applause at the end of a song when you really put your heart and soul into playing. They really enjoy that. And to me, that's great. I like that.
Because I really think that organ music is, you know, the way to skate. It's the only way to skate.
It's just, that's skating. That's the music that I grew up with and came here, and I think everybody would agree organ music's the best.
We used to have jamborees. We'd have 4, 5, 6 organists there and playing a jamboree. We were all friends.
The jamborees were the brainchild of the owner of the rink that I managed. His name was Gene Mitchell. He also coined the term organ jamboree. He had the idea that if we got several of the organists together, it would be one great session.
I always loved organ music, and my rink opened with organ music despite some newcomers that didn't understand that. But we taught the kids to skate to the music, which made them skaters that wanted to come back instead of skaters that just hung out at the rink.
I started playing at Hagee's Fontainebleau back in 1978, and the Fontainebleau had one of the largest sessions every year. It was the annual corn roast.
And what can I say about Hagee's? Hagee's Fountain Blue was fantastic during its time. Mr. Hagee put on some good corn roasts.
The skaters would come from all over eastern United States.
The biggest ones were always in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Hagee's skating rink. And we'd have, I guess we'd have about 4 or 5 organists there. And corn roasts, all kinds of food. Then the skating would come later on, and big crowds, get-togethers, reunions.
Corn roast started many years ago at Fountain Blue in Harrisburg by a guy named Hiles Hagee. He passed away, and we haven't had any corn roasts since then. And basically all it is one big picnic, one big party, and it's something that we haven't done in a number of years. And I thought this was the venue to do it because it's a big rink, it's a fairly new rink, and it's time we brought it back.
I want to start doing this corn roast as a tradition like Hagee's used to do in the old days, and basically which is it's inviting everyone back for the beginning of the skating season party is what it actually is and was. And some people didn't want kids to come to it, and then some people wanted kids to come to it. Some people wanted it to be an adult night. But on the other hand, the Oregon skaters say, if you don't bring the kids, who's going to take over our tradition?
I am very, very, very much for the young kids coming in here for the organ music. I think it's a tradition. I think that the young kids are going to be the ones that are going to uphold this tradition. And the more kids I see on this rink learning how to skate to it, the better it is.
There's still at least 1,800 roller skating rinks left, but they're not exactly all the same. And this is one of the largest rinks, and having the floating maple floor, this is what the Oregon skaters want to skate on, is these type of floors. And there's not a lot of these dinosaurs left.
In the late 60s and the early 70s, organ music was very popular in the rinks, and we were going along quite well until disco music came in.
As we moved through the 70s, disco became popular, and it took a lot of skaters away from us. But in reality, the music isn't all that different than what we play now. It's a heavy beat, and it's pretty much the same tempo as what we play now. It's just different songs. It's obviously much more orchestrated, and there's vocals, and none of us sing.
I can't skate to organ music, thinking it was for older people, and he's like, just come once. And I was like, all right, I'm pretty game for anything, I was like, skating's involved, we'll go. So I got a bunch of people together, probably about 10 of us went, and the rink was packed. We walked in, we were like, wow. And then as soon as we got on the floor, we were able to skate to it, which was really cool to us, we were like, all right, so. And then we went back a few times. It was fun, definitely.
Any skater that skates to the DJ's music can skate to the organist's music and vice versa. It's very simple. The beat is right there, and they feel the beat in the rinks because the rinks have wonderful sound systems. Whether it's organ music or DJ music, it's the same basic beat.
I prefer to skate to the disco music, to the old classics, but I can skate to anything.
And there's nothing like it. It's better than being married, skating. I enjoy it. There's nothing like it.
I've been skating for 25 years, and it started out with my family as kids, and I just grew into it and loved it.
Picked up very early on that skaters like their music more on the down-tempo side. I mean, you can pick up the pace a little bit, but they kind of like it like under 112 beats per minute for the most part. I mean, you can go certainly much higher than that, but that's their comfort zone. In between like 98 and 112 is real easy for stepping, and you find that when you go faster than that, then people start to drop off because they just can't keep up.
Well, when I started with my parents skating, we went to organ sessions, and that's when the disco era started coming in. So I was able to skate to both. I skated to organ music, started shuffling to organ music with some of the old timers, and I went right into skating to the rock music.
And it brought a whole new crowd of skaters, a lot of young skaters, into into skating rinks, and there's nothing wrong with that. As a business owner, you want to do whatever you need to do to get the business in.
In the 1930s, Mineola on Long Island was one of the first rinks to have electronic organ, and organ really ruled for many years in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And then in 1974, the disco beat hit, and it was a wonderful beat because you could really skate to the music, and it was very, very popular, and disco really made the rinks double, triple in the amount of rinks in the United States. And disco lasted from like 1974 to 81 or 82.
I've been a roller skating DJ since 1970, late 76, early 77. I started at a little basement place in Greenwich Village called Village Skating. I talked the owner into putting in just a little basic sound system with 2 turntables and a little mixer, and it started from there. Within a couple of months, the place was so packed that we were doing 4 sessions a night. I was influenced greatly by organists and skating rinks. I had gone to a couple of places like Park Circle in Brooklyn, Empire, where they had organists. I've been to places that had live organists as opposed to places that had, recorded music, and there's just you just can't recreate that same kind of feeling with pre-recorded music as you can with a live organist or a live DJ. I mean, you can pop in a CD of a mix, but the feeling just isn't right.
I don't know if disco music saves skating. I think it goes along the lines. I mean, there's kids out there today skating to all different types of music. So I don't know if it just saves skating. I think it was just a different time period where it came along and that was a popular thing to skate to because the beats are the same. Whether an organist is playing an upbeat or whether somebody's playing a vinyl with, a beat, it's all skatable, no matter how you look at it.
One of the first rinks that's a 21st century rink is Roller Jam USA in Staten Island, New York. They pushed all the right buttons. They hired top DJs. They have the absolute best sound system I've ever heard in the roller rink, and I've been to a lot of rinks. And the light show is unbelievable. And when Julio or the other DJs play the music, it's full control of the session. Everyone is skating to what they're playing. They know exactly what the crowd wants, and they give them what they want.
I'm going to do it, and I'm going to bring it to a little bit of next level with the technologies from today, more of a light show, better sound system, give them the music they know. The reason why I opened it was because, I have almost a 15-year-old daughter now, and I thought back when I was 15, I said, I got such great memories from when I was young. And, I see my daughter, and she's home, or maybe they go to a movie and stuff like that. And here I was going at the time, Roller Palace, and I think back at those times, I think of the anxieties of going over to a girl and ask her the first time, would you like to skate and things like that. And those things now that I'm 45, became very important in my life. Those things are what made who I am today. And I think back and I said, wow, I had a great childhood. And I look at a lot of kids today, and they don't seem to be having those memories. They're on the computers, they're not even talking face to face anymore, they're chatting, they're this, they're that. And I said, you know what, I want to make memories for these kids. And I was thinking on the terms of my daughter. So I said, you know what, let me give them a place where the kids can come out and they can experience some of the things that we all experienced back in the day. And that was good, clean fun, going out, talking face to face, the anxieties of maybe asking a girl to skate.
Still boy meets girl in a roller rink, and actually when a boy is 10 or 12 or 13, it's the first time he ever held hands with a girl skating couples. And that's what it's all about.
I says, I'm going to do it for 2 reasons. I'm going to do it so those kids can enjoy the experiences that I had when I was young, something they can look back at and tell their kids about when they're 45 years old. And I also did it because I knew there were a lot of 45-year-olds that want to feel like they're 14 and 15 again.
Skating's kind of an elixir. It helps relax you. After you get out of work, end of the day or the end of the week, you just need time to relax and do something that's joyful, and I get great joy skating.
Skating keeps me in shape, first of all. Keeps me feeling like I'm young, and just keeps me active with everybody.
I love shuffling the most out of everything I do here.
I've been skating since I was a child. I started out in the street skating with metal wheels and then went to the rink, and I've been skating in the rink for approximately 40 years.
I just love skating. I've been skating for 40 years myself. Started out with the metal wheels with my Buster Browns, and then when I got old enough to buy a pair, started skating in the ring, and just gradually from there. We met in the skating ring.
I started skating in the days of clip-on metal wheel skates quite a while back, but I had a big layoff in between when I found out that skating was for me. I guess somewhere in the 80s, early 80s, I got invited to a party, and ever since that party, I found something there for me, and something that really, I don't know, it gave me a joy like nothing else did. And from there, I just kept practicing, working on different moves, and watching all the good skaters around me, and I just got better at it. And then I found out that it was really my thing. I mean, it took me a while to figure out that it was my thing, but once you find out it's your thing, I don't know, you can't stop. It became an everyday event for me when I started to study skating. And I needed to get a job at the place that I was going to all the time because I was skating so often, so it was good.
I started skating rock music right when the disco started. I've been skating probably about 35 years. I started, when I was just over 5 years old.
Can you handle it? Can you handle it? 'Cause you ain't had nothing like it. Can you handle it? Can you handle it? 'Cause you ain't had nothing like it. Can you handle it? Can you handle it? 'Cause you ain't had nothing like it.
The people that come here that are a little older on adult night, they have specific music that they like to hear. It's a certain groove that they get into, a certain beat that they like to have, which I knew nothing about and I'm starting to learn now. And you can see that the way they groove around the floor, and there's so many different varieties of skaters. You have the dance skaters in the middle, the jam skaters, I think they call them. And then you have the people who skate around more like in the middle of the floor, skating around and dancing and twirling and what. And then you have your shuffle skaters, which are on the outside. They tend to go into a train. This is all new to me too. I mean, I didn't open this place knowing about all of this. I opened this place to do birthday parties, opened this place to give the kids a place to go on a Friday night.
Well, the ability to read skaters, a crowd of skaters, I think is what sets, again, a live DJ or live organist apart from recorded music. Because you can look at them and tell, you've just started from down tempo and you're taking them up, and you can see it in their faces when they're getting tired and they need a break, or you can see, you can just, as the floor's moving, you get a sense of where to go from there.
I skate because it's what I do. I'm a skater. I love skating, and I have loved it for quite a long time. Skating is a way of opening up your physical, mental, and social activities into one big, huge expression. I love it because I combine both dance, movement, and it's an exhilarating, free feeling. When you mix that with people, it's one of the greatest experiences you can have, especially if you take all your baggage from your workday and put it outside the front door, come on in a wild outfit, and make believe. It's the world of dance on wheels. It's really something else.
With the strength of your mind, you can be set free. You can overcome your past. Search deep inside, and you will see. Time has come at last.
It became a very passionate part of my life, and I often get very excited about talking about it, to the point where sometimes you can't really feel that you can even describe what skating really means to a skater, because it's such a unique, wonderful experience. Basically, it's been a tremendous cohesive force in my life that has instilled regularity and a type of antidote to the day's worth of stress and all the debacle of today's life, and it really eases all the pains of anything going good or even wrong, in your life. It's really a remedy for all those causes.
Keep on, keep on. You gotta keep on. Keep on, you gotta keep on. Keep on, keep on. Yeah, keep on, you gotta keep on. Through the strength of your mind, you can be set free. You can overcome your past.
I mean, it was amazing. The Roxy closed, Empire closed the week before I opened. Do I call that good luck? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's a tragedy, actually. I think the more rinks that there are, the more popular it becomes. The less rinks, the more it looks like it's old news. So I look at it as a tragedy. I think people from Empire would have came here, even if it was still open. I think people from the Roxy still would have came here, even if it was still open. And I think people from here would have went there.
The future for roller skating will always be bright. I mean, we have a whole new group of 20-somethings that is skating now. There's always the preteens that love to skate. That's the bulk of the business in roller skating now, the preteens. And somehow when the girls and the boys get their driver's license, they go away for skating for a couple of years. But now the 20-somethings are coming back, and roller derby's popular, and there's plenty of roller girls out there skating, thousands of them. And people in their 20s are coming back to skating.
And to this day, I mean, as big as I've gotten over the years, I still love it tremendously, and I'll do it until the day I die or until I can't do it anymore.
Skating's unique people.
One thing shuffle skating brings you is the opportunity to really get into a rhythm and have a good time, and it makes others want to learn it.
And it was a sense of community because it was skating people. It was a people that took a tremendous interest in roller skating and skating to music.
Because in this genre, we all know each other. We've all known each other for 40 years, maybe even longer than that.
The old timers, you still see them skating today. My God, same people for 40 years, 50 years. You see the same groups of people. They're a tight-knit group.
The truth is, at the end of the day, if it was just about money, I probably wouldn't open the roller rink. Because roller rinks are not the most, best way to make a ton of money. You're not going to get rich owning a roller rink. I did it because I really wanted to do it from my heart. I didn't open it strictly to make the money I put in here. I could have pretty much put in any business and probably would have made more money, but it wasn't about the money. Because I want to wake up in the morning and be like, all right, another day.
I'm hoping that it'll get back to, well, I don't know if it'll ever be as big as it was, but as long as the people that come to the rink learn to skate, that's the whole thing. If they don't learn, they don't enjoy it because they don't find falling fun. But if they actually, you know, start to pick it up, those people have changed. I mean, especially people from Roller Jam that we met that first came here, they saw us shuffling. They wanted to do what we were doing, which made them come back every week because you have to practice. You know, you can want to do it, but like anything else, the only way you get good at it is to do it every week. So I made a lot of new friends here, and those people now really enjoy skating, so I see them every week.
You know, I can't thank Bill enough for everything that he's ever done. You know, that he's certainly been more than a friend.
You know, it's been a long ride, I started playing in a skating rink in 1952 and quit back in 1996. And the only thing I could talk about for an hour, which we don't have, I'd say it was a lot of fun.
The favorite thing I think that I look forward to is every Wednesday and Saturday night, which was shuffle skating at Douglasville at CNC Skate Ranch. I mean, although I had great fun during practicing and at the normal sessions at my home rinks, there was nothing like going to CC on a Wednesday night or a Saturday night for that late session.
The younger the skaters start, the longer they'll be in our sport. And if you go to any roller rink, you'll see plenty of 5, 6, 7-year-old girls, brownies, Girl Scouts attending skating classes, and they love it. And that'll be the sport of a lifetime for them. They can keep skating as long as they want, well into their 70s if they want to. It's a wonderful sport, and a lot of people leave it and then they come back and enjoy it twice as much the second time around.
We opened the place up, and then we had a line around the corner on our grand opening. I mean, literally wrapped around the entire building. And ever since then, it's been a great experience.
You know, the whole thing that we look for is for people to go out of here winded, sweated, and can't wait till the next year's event. And we want the whole family to do that.
So I think skating is on a rebound. And there are still a lot of good days ahead.
And I see new people coming into the rink every single day. New faces, new skaters. Start them young, they'll skate forever.